So I've just made it out of Act 1 in Baldur's Gate 3, and I'm absolutely loving the game. Ever since patch 8 came out a couple of weeks ago, it's been the game that I'm playing the most of. And I am a D&D fan, and I was brought up, or I played for some time, D&D 5th edition. And I was reading an article today on Tech Radar about a guy who plays D&D in ChatGPT, and that's something I've also done. I didn't know that people had created their own GPTs. In order to do that, I've always done my own, and I've got a particular premise around how to make it and what I think's good. So then that led me to thinking, well, why don't I create my own GPT, and I share that with you guys with regards to anyone who maybe wants to experience D&D outside of Baldur's Gate 3. Now, I don't know if you're aware of them, but there are two Matthews that come to mind when it comes to Dungeons & Dragons. The first is probably more obvious to all of you, or more aware to all of you, and that's Matthew Mercer from Critical Role. He is absolutely fantastic. He's the Dungeon Master for Critical Role. He's done it on other aspects of that channel, and he is a really good voice actor. The other Matt, or Matthew, is Matthew Colville, and if you're not aware of him, he has done a very long-running series about how to be a Dungeon Master called Running the Game. I'll put a link to both channels in the description, because this is more about promoting them than it is anything to do with myself. But the two Matts that I think of when I think of Dungeons & Dragons, and I thought that I would create my own GPT in ChatGPT, and as soon as I say it out loud, you're all going to know what I called it. I called it Matt GPT. The thumbnail may have given that away as well. Now, I think it's pretty easy to set up your own D&D campaign, so I'm happy to share how I do that for myself within ChatGPT. I would always start with it listing all of the best set campaigns. I don't know if you're aware of this, but there are many well-written campaigns within the 5th edition rules of Dungeons & Dragons. There are many other campaigns from previous editions. I suspect there's even some campaigns already for the new edition, which I think is called 1D&D. I haven't had any experience with that at all. I have all the books back there. I don't know if you can see them. That's them, top left-hand corner of the screen. All of those are the 5th edition books that I had and I have that I use to play and experience Dungeons & Dragons at tabletop level. Now, I think that's the best edition, but it's the only edition I played, so of course I'd think that. But it is considered to be maybe the most accessible. Again, I don't know anything about the new one. I think the new one was more of a money grab, that they wanted to bring out a new edition after 10 years. I think they should have just kept expanding 5th edition, but they know better than me, so fair enough. Don't worry about that. But what I would do within ChatGPT is say to it, list or give me a list of all of the best Dungeons & Dragons campaigns in order. And I suspect what you're going to find is the Strahd campaign, Curse of Strahd, is going to be number one. There's quite a few of them, so you can just go through them. It's pretty straightforward, but you don't need to worry about that. I wouldn't play one of those, but what I would do is, when you've got the list, is say, now, combine all of those campaigns into a really good starter edition if you're new to this, or a really good campaign full of combat or roleplay or anything like that. And then you can literally go in and play it. I like to play as a Bladesong wizard, as I'm doing in Baldur's Gate 3. I base that wizard on Kirito from Sword Art Online. So a lot of crossover here from different worlds, different genres and everything like that. But it's very easy to play Dungeons & Dragons on your own within ChatGPT. And if you don't like the direction that it's going, then you can pretty much just say to it, I'd like a little bit more of this or a little less of that. I'd like it to be more adult. I'd like it to be less adult. I'd like it to be more bloody and violent and gory and whatever. Strahd is a horror campaign of sorts, so you might like that. But you can lean into anything you like. But what I've done is I've actually created my own GPT today. It's the first one I've ever done. I'm not suggesting it's mind-blowing. But if you wanted somewhere to start and you wanted to play Dungeons & Dragons outside of Baldur's Gate 3 or away from the tabletop, then you can go over to ChatGPT, you can search GPTs, you can find Matt GPT. It's pretty straightforward. Matt GPT, like ChatGPT. It was funny to me, so I thought I'd create it. But that's going to start off by listing the good campaigns. Then it's going to ask you some questions. It's going to ask about what class you might like to play, what race you might like to play, what sort of world you'd like, everything like that. You can even play yourself, because I'm a big anime fan, and there's a genre of anime called Isekai. And Isekai is when someone wakes up in a fantasy world, and often they're going to need to be the hero. Maybe the world has summoned them and they need to become a hero. Other times what's happened is they've been killed in the real world, in our world, and now they've been reincarnated maybe as a hero again. So it's Isekai is the idea behind that, and I really enjoy that. I think it's a good daydream for me. If you're a Dungeons and Dragons fan, you may like it. But within Matt GPT, I've programmed it to give you the option. It's not a lot of programming. I'm not trying to say that I did too much work here, but it has the option for you to play yourself, and you can actually be isekai'd into Faerûn, which is the world that D&D is set in, and you can actually play through the campaign as yourself. You can still become a class and you can change it all. But I just thought this would be a fun video to make. It's a bit silly. I don't suppose it's going to get many views. I'll put a link in there for my Matt GPT that I've created. But I just wanted to promote the fact that if you've got ChatGPT and you don't even have to pay for it, you can get the free version. You can, outside of Baldur's Gate, away from the tabletop, you could actually play D&D on your own, and it is a lot of fun. So if you weren't aware of it, now you are. If you've played it at all yourself, then let me know in the comments. If you actually try it out, then please come back and let me know what you think. But otherwise, you don't need to use mine. I don't care if you use mine. I just wanted to promote the fact that ChatGPT is an incredibly good place to play, not Baldur's Gate 3, to play Dungeons and Dragons, maybe when you're not at home and you can't play Baldur's Gate 3, or you're not at the tabletop with your friends. So there you go. I'm Bifties, this is The Cave, welcome to my Exile, see you all next time.